So you've been pre-approved for around 800,000 and you're shopping Ottawa's South End, and every listing is starting to blur together. Here's what nobody's telling you. 800,000 is completely different house in Findlay Creek than it is in Greely or Kempville. And if you shop by neighborhood instead of what you actually want in a home, you will overpay for the wrong thing. Stick with me and I'll walk through what that budget really buys in multiple South End communities. New build versus resale, house versus land, so you know exactly where 800,000 goes the furthest. And if you're shopping around 800,000, book a quick call at the link in the description. We'll connect and show you exactly what's available for you right now based on your criteria. So let's set the table. As of July 2026, the average home was sitting around 683,000. So at 800,000, you're shopping about a notch above the middle of the market. This is a real detached home budget in most of the South End areas, but not everywhere, and not for every kind of home. In the newer communities, it's comfortable. Out where there's land, it buys space and an older house. And in the commuter towns, it's near the top of the market. The mistake I see buyers make is treating 800,000 like it means the same thing everywhere. And it doesn't. One more thing before we start. These are all list prices. Where a home actually sells can land above or below depending on the home, the day, and the market. So treat these as the starting line, not the final number. So let me show you four homes that are actually on the market right now. All of these around 800,000. And we're going to look at how differently that money actually lives. First, let's start up at the top of the budget. We have 799,000 in Findlay Creek at 110 Dunskipper Drive. All of these properties can be found on our website, bekkersrealty.ca. This is a 2020 built 2-story, 4-bedroom home that's about 2,300 square feet. This has an attached double-car garage. It's freshly done. You'll see the modern finishes being a 2020 build with plenty of features that are sure to impress you if modern interior is something that's very important. Now, this home, of course, is on full city services as well. So you have sewer, you have water, everything is here at the home for you. It's close to the Rideau Carlton, and it's a newer move-in ready version of $800,000. The trade is a smaller lot, smaller backyard, as you'll see as we get to these last photos. Lots of neighbors that are close on top of you. So no projects, no well test, just move in and enjoy. If that's what's important to you, this could very well be your lane. Now take almost the same amount of money and let's move out to Osgoode. We have 3599 Nixon Drive located in the heart of Osgoode. This home is much smaller, sitting at about 1,100 square feet. You can see it from the exterior footprint here. But what you're getting is you're getting over 3.5 acres of country living on this property. It's still a renovated 3-bedroom bungalow, so decent space here, freshly updated, not a lot to do other than move in and enjoy. Keep in mind, the bones of a property like this are going to be older compared to a 2020 build in Findlay Creek. This property also has a 30-foot garage plus an additional workshop. This has parking for dozens of vehicles. Run your own business from here if you like. Keep in mind that this property, as we get further out into the country, would be on well and septic. The septic tank in this specific property has been replaced, is newer. You have 200 amp service, a Generac backup generator, so there is a lot of bonuses in something like this as well. So a lot smaller than something in Findlay Creek, but you're getting 3+ acres. You could run a business here. This is the home for the buyer that values space, maybe has some toys, ATVs, dirt bikes, something that you want to store or work on in your own workshop and garage. Now let's go over to the third way to spend this. 2466 Fairmile Road. This one is very different. This is a waterfront property, something that you cannot find closer into the city. $769,000 is our listing price, on the market currently for 57 days. This property is only a 2-bedroom home. This eliminates a lot of families, but it's a great option if you're a downsizer. Maybe a first-time buyer, you don't have kids or a big family yet. Still some great options here. The waterfront here is going to be the biggest selling feature. You have 16 feet of waterfront, your own private deck, and kilometers of lock-free boating. This is on well and septic, propane heating. You're not buying square footage here. You're buying the waterfront. You're buying a chance to be out on the boat in those hot summer days here in Ottawa. This one is all about the water. A couple things to consider as you get into waterfront properties is our insurance and financing has a few more hiccups. Not something that's going to completely steer you away from the property, but it is something that you need to consider. Have a chat with your realtor as well as your mortgage professional and your insurance professional before going firm on a property that's on the water, because there will be many different considerations and things to just organize before you actually close on it. So at this price and waterfront, you're still getting something with nice finishes inside. This specific home, you can see the listing photos. Now let's move over to the last property. And this is the one for the Greely buyer. This is 7038 Shields Drive, right in the heart of Greely. This is also a fully renovated bungalow that sits minutes from the community center, minutes from the village center. 6 bedrooms in total, 3 upstairs, 3 downstairs. Here's the kicker. The lower level actually has its own separate entrance, separate kitchen, and a sauna. So this works as a complete in-law suite. It's backing directly onto Andy Shields Park, so you have no rear neighbors. Of course, again, we're well, septic, natural gas heating, and with an attached double car garage. Now, this property, as you'll see, is listed at $820,000. So why am I showing this to you in a video where we're looking at an $800,000 budget? There's a couple reasons. The first one is the separate entrance suite. Part of this price could come back to you with rental income, which will actually change the amount that you qualify for. So there's a possibility to qualify for a little bit more, build equity on a higher priced property, and in the long run, you'll gain more equity as this appreciates compared to buying at a lower price. You also have the potential of having a tenant down in the basement to offset some of your mortgage costs as you live and pay off your equity in this property. And the second point is that this is a listing price. This is a starting point. You'll see that this one has actually had a price reduction already. However, this is still the starting point. There could potentially be room for negotiation. So you always need to treat the listing price as such. You need to run your comparables with your realtor before putting in an offer to determine what the actual purchase price should be for your situation. This is an offer strategy conversation. It's the sort of thing that we would walk you through if you're looking at moving forward on an offer on a property like this. So if Greely is where you want to be and you could see yourself living, maybe with a tenant in the basement to help offset your mortgage, consider this property. Consider something like this. Have a chat. Let's walk through it. It doesn't have to be an immediate no because it sits $20,000 over that $800,000 budget. So there you have it. 4 homes, 4 completely different lives, all around $800,000. So how do you actually choose? Every decision comes down to 3 trades. New versus resale, which means shiny and finished or established and mature. You have house versus land, square footage inside or square footage outside. And commute versus location. More home further out, less home closer in. There's no right answer here. It's about which of those 3 that you care about most. When a buyer tells me what they would personally trade and what they won't, I can then point the same $800,000 at the community that will get them the most for what they're looking for. This is the whole game, spending the budget where it lines up with what you actually value. So if you push me for a general rule of thumb, if you're a commuter and wait location, lean newer and closer in. If you're a work from home or you're done commuting, it's when land and square footage further out start to win. But this is a very generic starting point and not a verdict. Your life is what's going to decide this. A couple of practical things before you start touring. First, get your financing sorted with a mortgage professional so you know that $800,000 is your real budget and you can move when the right one shows up. In a tight market, the pre-approved buyer wins every single time. Second, see at least one home in each of these categories in person if you're uncertain of what is important for you. Photos flatten everything. Standing in a new build in an established home on an acre tells you more than 100 listing photos ever will. And third, work with somebody who watches all of these communities because the right $800,000 home might be in one that you haven't even considered yet. So let's meet where you are, figure out where your budget goes. If you're shopping around 800,000 in the South End, let's make it count. Book a call with us at the link in the description, and I will send you what's currently on the market that fits your exact needs across every community we just talked about and more. My name is Eric Bekkers, and we work together with homeowners. And if you want the honest breakdown of any of these specific communities, start with one in particular. Watch my Living in Greely video next, where I go deep on what it's really like to own an acre out there. It's linked right here.